Hey Reddit, I never thought I'd be writing here, but I need to get this off my chest. I've been carrying this weight around for weeks, and I don't know how to move forward. My name's Brian, 35M, and my wife's name is Jessica, 34F. We've been married for 8 years and have a 5-year-old daughter, Lily. I always thought we had a solid relationship, until one night turned everything upside down. For some context, Jessica and I have been going through a bit of a rough patch lately. Between work stress, parenting, and life in general, we've been more like roommates than partners. I chalked it up to the natural ebb and flow of marriage and figured we'd work through it. But now I'm wondering if I was blind to deeper issues. This all started when Jessica got invited to her friend Ashley's birthday party. Ashley throws these big, rowdy house parties that Jessica loves, but I've never been a fan of. She asked if I wanted to go with her, but I wasn't feeling up to it. I had an early work meeting the next day, and honestly, I didn't want to deal with the drinking and loud music. So I told her she could go without me. The night of the party, Jessica got all dressed up, hair, makeup, a dress I hadn't seen her wear in years. She looked amazing, and for a moment, I felt a twinge of guilt for not going with her. Don't stay out too late, I said as she kissed me goodbye. And don't forget to check on Lily. She promised she wouldn't, then left with a smile. Around 11 p.m., I texted her to see how things were going. No response. I figured she was busy or her phone was on silent, so I didn't think much of it. But as the hours went by, my unease started to grow. By 1 a.m., I was wide awake, staring at my phone and wondering why she hadn't come home yet. At 1:30, I heard the sound of the front door creaking open. Jessica stumbled in, visibly drunk and reeking of alcohol. Her hair was messy, her makeup smeared, and she was holding her heels in one hand. "Hey," she slurred, flashing me a lopsided grin. "Sorry I'm late." "Jessica, it's almost 2 a.m., I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "Where were you?" "Just at Ashley's," she mumbled, waving me off as she headed toward the stairs. It was fun, but something about her demeanor didn't sit right with me. She wasn't just drunk, she seemed nervous, like she was hiding something. "Jessica," I said, stopping her. "Where's Lily?" Her face fell, and my heart sank. She's fine," she stammered. "She was in the car. She fell asleep, so I didn't want to wake her up." I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. "Wait, what?" I said, my voice rising. "You left Lily in the car while you were at the party? For how long?" Jessica's eyes darted away, and she mumbled something I couldn't hear. "Jessica, how long?" I repeated, panic creeping into my voice. "A couple of hours," she admitted, tears welling up in her eyes. I kept checking on her. She was fine, Brian. I didn't think it was a big deal. I was stunned, angry, horrified. I ran out to the car and found Lily curled up in her car seat, fast asleep but cold. I carried her inside, my mind racing with questions. What kind of mother leaves her child in a car for hours while she's at a party? What else was she hiding? When I went back inside, Jessica was sitting on the couch, crying. "I'm sorry," she kept saying. "I messed up. I wasn't thinking." I wanted to yell, to scream, but all I could do was sit there, staring at her. "Jessica," I said finally, "what really happened at that party? Because this doesn't feel like the whole story." She froze, her tears stopping abruptly. "Nothing," she said quickly. "Nothing happened. I just drank too much and lost track of time." But I didn't believe her. And deep down, I think she knew it. Hey Reddit, I'm back with the next part of my story, and honestly, things have only gotten messier since that night. After finding Lily asleep in the car and hearing Jessica's flimsy excuse about losing track of time, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. Her behavior that night, the nervousness, the tears, didn't match up with her explanation. Something was off. The morning after the party, I woke up early with Lily, who thankfully seemed fine. I made her breakfast and tried to act normal, but my mind was racing. Jessica didn't come downstairs until late, looking hungover and sheepish. She avoided eye contact with me, which only made my suspicions grow. "Morning," she said quietly, sitting down at the table and pouring herself a glass of water. "Morning," I replied flatly. "We need to talk." She nodded, not looking up. "I know." I waited for her to say something, but she just sat there, staring at her glass. Finally, I broke the silence. "Jessica, I need the truth about last night. What were you really doing at that party? And why did you think it was okay to leave Lily in the car?" Her face crumpled, and she started crying again. "I told you, Brian. I messed up. I drank too much, and I wasn't thinking straight. I kept checking on her, I swear." "That's not good enough," I said, my voice rising. You don't just lose track of time for hours while your kid is sitting alone in the car. And the way you acted when you came home, something doesn't add up. What aren't you telling me? Her crying intensified, and she buried her face in her hands. I can't, she whispered. You'll hate me. Her words sent a chill down my spine. Jessica, I said firmly, I need to know. Whatever it is, it can't be worse than what I'm imagining. She shook her head, her shoulders shaking with sobs. It wasn't supposed to happen, she said finally. I didn't mean for it to happen. What are you talking about? I asked, my heart pounding. What happened? She looked up at me, her face streaked with tears. There was a guy at the party, she said, her voice barely audible. He was flirting with me, and I let it happen. The room felt like it was spinning. You let it happen? I repeated, my voice shaking. What does that mean, Jessica? Be specific. She hesitated, wiping her face with her sleeve. We kissed, she admitted. And then, we went upstairs. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. You're telling me you cheated on me while our daughter was sitting alone in the car? I said, my voice rising. Are you kidding me right now? I didn't mean to, she cried. I was drunk, and I wasn't thinking. I know it's no excuse, but I wasn't myself. Who is he? I demanded. Do I know him? She shook her head. No, he's just someone Ashley invited. I don't even know his last name. Her words only made me angrier. So you're telling me you threw away our marriage for some random guy you just met? And you left Lily alone in the car while you did it? Do you even hear yourself right now? Jessica couldn't respond. She just sat there, crying and mumbling apologies, but none of it felt real to me. How could she claim to love me, to love Lily, and then do something like this? It was like I didn't even know the woman sitting in front of me. I need space, I said finally, standing up. I can't even look at you right now. Brian, please, she begged, reaching for me. I know I screwed up, but I love you. I love Lily. Please don't give up on us. I pulled away, shaking my head. You should have thought about that before you made those choices, I said coldly. Right now, I just need to think. I spent the rest of the day avoiding her, taking Lily out to the park and trying to clear my head. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop replaying her words in my mind. She betrayed me, betrayed our family, and I didn't know if I could ever forgive her. Hey Reddit, I'm back again. After Jessica's confession, I thought I had heard the worst of it, but something about her story didn't sit right with me. The way she avoided eye contact, how reluctant she was to give details, it felt like there was more she wasn't telling me. I couldn't just take her word for it, not after what she'd done. So I decided to dig deeper. The day after her confession, I stayed quiet, observing her every move. Jessica was trying to act normal, playing with Lily, tidying up the house, but I could see the guilt weighing on her. Every time I walked into her room, she'd tense up, like she was waiting for me to start yelling again. But I didn't. I was saving my energy for when I had all the facts. That evening, after Lily went to bed, I decided to confront her again. She was sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone, when I walked in. We need to talk, I said, sitting across from her. She set her phone down and nodded, her face tense. Okay. I've been thinking about what you said, I began. About what happened at the party. And I need to know everything. No more half-truths, no more excuses. I want the full story. She hesitated, her eyes darting to the floor. I already told you, she said quietly. I was drunk, and I made a mistake. That's all it was. That's not good enough, I said firmly. You cheated on me, Jessica. You left our daughter alone in the car so you could hook up with some random guy. I deserve to know exactly what happened. Who is he? How long were you with him? Did anyone else see you? Her face crumpled, and she started crying again. Why are you doing this? She sobbed. I told you it was a mistake. Isn't that enough? No, it's not, I said, my voice rising. You don't get to play the victim here. You're the one who did this. So either you tell me the truth, or I'll find it myself. She froze, her tears stopping abruptly. What do you mean? She asked, her voice shaky. I mean, I'm not just going to take your word for it, I said. I'll talk to Ashley, to anyone else who was at that party. I'll figure out who this guy is, and I'll get the truth, with or without your help. Her face went pale, and I knew I'd hit a nerve. You don't need to do that, she said quickly. I'll tell you everything. Just, please don't bring anyone else into this. Start talking, I said, crossing my arms. She took a deep breath, wiping her eyes. His name is Ryan, she said. Ashley introduced us. We were talking, and he kept buying me drinks. I didn't think anything of it at first, but then, he started flirting, and I didn't stop him. Go on, I said coldly. We danced for a while, she continued, her voice trembling. And then, we went upstairs. It was stupid and reckless, and I hate myself for it. How long were you gone? I asked. How long was Lily alone in the car while you were upstairs with him? I don't know, she admitted, her voice breaking. An hour? Maybe 2? I wasn't keeping track of time. I wasn't thinking. Her words felt like daggers to my chest. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Did anyone else see you two? I asked. She nodded reluctantly. Ashley might have noticed, she said. She saw me dancing with him, but I don't think she knows what happened upstairs. I stood up, unable to sit there any longer. You've lied to me so many times already, I said. How am I supposed to believe you now? I'm not lying, Brian, she pleaded. I've told you everything. Please, you have to believe me. But I didn't. Not yet. After our conversation, I decided to text Ashley. I didn't want to involve her, but I needed to know if Jessica's story matched up. Hey Ashley, I wrote. I need to ask you something about the party. Did you see Jessica with a guy named Ryan? It didn't take long for her to reply. Yeah, I saw them dancing. Why? Did you see them go upstairs? I asked, my hand shaking as I typed. There was a pause, and then her response came through. I think so. I didn't want to say anything, but it looked bad. Is everything okay? No, Ashley. Everything is definitely not okay. I didn't respond. I just stared at my phone, the confirmation hitting me like a ton of bricks. Jessica wasn't just making excuses, she was lying, downplaying what really happened. And now I had proof. Hey Reddit, I'm back again. After confirming with Ashley that Jessica and Ryan had gone upstairs at the party, I knew I couldn't hold back anymore. Her story had cracks all over it, and now I had proof she was still lying to me. If our marriage had any chance of surviving this mess, the lies had to stop. That evening, I put Lily to bed early. My heart was pounding as I walked back downstairs, where Jessica was sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when she saw me, her expression cautious. Hey, she said softly, like she was trying to gauge my mood. We need to talk, I said, sitting across from her. Her shoulders tensed, and she put her phone down. Okay, she said. What about? I talked to Ashley, I said bluntly. Her face went pale, and her eyes widened. What? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I asked her about the party, I continued. About you and Ryan. She confirmed that she saw you two dancing, and that you went upstairs together. So I'll ask you again, Jessica, what really happened that night? She froze, her hands trembling in her lap. I already told you. No, you didn't, I snapped, cutting her off. You told me some sanitized version of the truth to try and save face. But Ashley saw you. She knows what you did. So stop lying to me and tell me everything. Jessica's face crumpled, and she started crying. Brian, I swear I've told you everything I can remember, she said through her sobs. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking straight. I don't even know why I let it happen. Stop making excuses. I yelled, my voice shaking. You weren't drunk when you drove Lily to that party. You weren't drunk when you left her in the car for hours. And you sure as hell weren't drunk enough to forget what happened upstairs. So stop acting like this wasn't a choice. She flinched at my words, tears streaming down her face. You're right, she said, her voice breaking. It was a choice. A horrible, selfish choice. And I hate myself for it. I hate that I hurt you, and I hate that I put Lily in danger. But I swear, Brian, it didn't mean anything. I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. It didn't mean anything? You risked our marriage, our family, and our daughter's safety for something that didn't mean anything. Do you even hear yourself right now? Jessica buried her face in her hands, sobbing uncontrollably. For a moment, I just stared at her, my anger simmering beneath the surface. But as much as I wanted to scream and yell, I knew I wasn't going to get the truth this way. I needed answers, not excuses. Did you sleep with him? I asked coldly. She looked up at me, her face streaked with tears. No, she said quickly. I swear, it didn't go that far. We kissed, and things started to get physical, but I stopped it before it went any further. I narrowed my eyes, trying to read her expression. Why should I believe you? Because it's the truth, she said desperately. I know I don't deserve your trust right now, but I wouldn't lie to you about this. Please, Brian, I'm telling you everything. Her words hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But after everything that had happened, how could I be sure she wasn't just saying what she thought I wanted to hear? Later that night, I sat alone in the guest room, replaying our conversation over and over in my head. Her tears, her apologies, her insistence that she'd told me everything, it all felt like too little, too late. How was I supposed to rebuild trust with someone who had broken it so completely? I picked up my phone and opened a note I'd started the day after the party. It was a list of everything I needed to consider before making a decision about our marriage. At the top of the list was Lily. No matter what happened between me and Jessica, I had to do what was best for her. As I stared at the screen, my phone buzzed with a text from Jessica. I know I've hurt you, and I don't know if I can ever make it right. But I love you, Brian. I love our family, and I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. Please don't give up on us. I didn't respond. I didn't know what to say. All I knew was that our marriage would never be the same again. Hey Reddit, I'm back with another update, and things haven't gotten any easier. After Jessica's latest confession, or what she claims is the full truth, I've been struggling to figure out what to do next. Part of me wants to believe her, to trust that she's finally being honest, but another part of me feels like a fool for even considering it. How do you rebuild trust when it's been shattered like this? For days, I felt like I was living in a fog. Every time I looked at Jessica, all I could see was her betrayal, leaving Lily in the car, sneaking upstairs with Ryan, and lying to me about it afterward. The anger and hurt would bubble up, and I'd have to leave the room just to stop myself from saying something I couldn't take back. But then there's Lily. She's only 5, and she doesn't understand what's going on. All she knows is that Mommy and Daddy aren't talking much, and the house feels tense. Every time she runs up to me with a smile or hugs me out of the blue, I feel a pang of guilt. No matter how angry I am at Jessica, I can't let this affect Lily more than it already has. She deserves better than that. Jessica has been walking on eggshells around me, and I can tell she's trying. She's stopped drinking entirely, has been spending more time with Lily, and has even suggested counseling. I know I've broken your trust, she said one evening, but I want to do whatever it takes to fix this, for us and for Lily. Her suggestion caught me off guard. I hadn't even considered counseling yet. I was still stuck in survival mode. You think counseling is going to fix this? I asked, my voice colder than I intended. I don't know, she admitted, but I want to try. I don't want to give up on us, Brian. Please. I didn't respond right away. Instead, I told her I needed time to think, which has been my go-to response for almost everything lately. The truth is, I'm not sure if I want to save our marriage. I'm not sure if it's even salvageable. But the thought of tearing our family apart makes my stomach churn. I called my brother, Jason, to talk things through. He's always been my sounding board, and I knew he'd give it to me straight. Man, this is a tough one, he said after I told him everything. If you think there's a chance she's genuinely sorry and willing to change, maybe counseling could help. But if you can't see yourself ever trusting her again, you have to be honest with yourself about that. I just don't know if I can get past it, I said. Every time I look at her, I think about what she did. Jason sighed. That's valid, Brian. But you also need to think about what's best for Lily. If you stay, it has to be because you want to work things out, not because you feel trapped. After a lot of back and forth, I finally agreed to try counseling. I told Jessica that if she wanted to save our marriage, she had to show me through her actions, not just her words. She agreed without hesitation and scheduled the first session with a therapist who specializes in infidelity and relationship rebuilding. The first session was awkward, to say the least. The therapist, Dr. Warren, started by asking us why we were there. Jessica broke down almost immediately, saying how much she regretted what she'd done and how ashamed she was of her actions. I don't want to lose my family, she said through tears. I know I've hurt Brian, and I'll do whatever it takes to earn back his trust. When it was my turn to speak, I didn't hold back. I feel betrayed, I said. I feel like the person I trusted most in the world stabbed me in the back. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust her again. Dr. Warren nodded, her expression calm. That's an honest place to start, Brian. Trust is one of the hardest things to rebuild after infidelity, but it's not impossible. The question is, are both of you willing to do the work it takes to get there? I hesitated, then glanced at Jessica. She looked devastated but determined. I think so, I said finally. But I'm not making any promises. Over the next few weeks, Jessica started taking small steps to show me she was serious about making things right. She gave me access to her phone, deleted all her social media accounts, and blocked Ryan on every platform. She also started individual therapy to address the issues that led to her behavior in the first place. Meanwhile, I focused on trying to process my own emotions. Dr. Warren encouraged me to be honest about my feelings, even when it was uncomfortable. It's okay to feel angry and hurt, she said during one session. Healing doesn't mean pretending those feelings don't exist. It means learning how to move through them. One night, after a particularly long therapy session, Jessica and I sat on the couch together in silence. Finally, she turned to me and said, "Brian, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I hope someday you'll see how much I love you and how sorry I am." Her words were raw, and for the first time in months, they felt genuine. "I don't know if I can forgive you," I said honestly, "but I'm willing to try." It wasn't a happy ending, but it was a start. Hey Reddit, I'm back again with another update. If I've learned anything over the past few months, it's that rebuilding a marriage after betrayal is messy, painful, and far from linear. Some days feel like we're making progress, and other days, it feels like we're right back where we started. I'm still trying to figure out if this is something I can truly move past, but for now, we're in the thick of it. Dr. Warren suggested an exercise during one of our sessions. Both of us had to write letters to each other, detailing what we felt was missing in our relationship before the betrayal. The goal was to understand what led to the cracks in our marriage, not to excuse Jessica's actions, but to identify areas we needed to address moving forward. Writing the letter was harder than I expected. I didn't want to admit that I might have contributed to the problems in our relationship. But as I sat there, staring at the blank page, I realized there were things I'd overlooked, times when I'd been so focused on work or other responsibilities that I hadn't been fully present for Jessica or Lily. I wasn't excusing her choices, but I could see how the distance between us had grown without me noticing. Jessica's letter, on the other hand, was raw and emotional. She wrote about feeling lonely and unappreciated, about how she'd convinced herself that I didn't care about her anymore. "It doesn't justify what I did," she wrote, "but I need you to know that I didn't cheat because I stopped loving you. I cheated because I stopped feeling loved." Reading her words was gut-wrenching. I wanted to be angry, to tell her that she had no right to feel unloved when I'd been working so hard to provide for our family. But deep down, I knew she was being honest. Somewhere along the way, we'd lost sight of each other, and it had pushed her to make choices that neither of us could take back. One of the hardest parts of this process has been rebuilding trust. Every time Jessica picks up her phone, my mind goes to dark places. Is she texting Ryan? Is she hiding something from me again? She's given me full access to her phone, but the paranoia still lingers. Dr. Warren suggested setting boundaries to help rebuild trust. Jessica agreed to share her location with me and check in regularly when she's out. She's also been more proactive about sharing details of her day, who she's with, what she's doing, and when she'll be home. At first, it felt awkward and forced, but over time, it's become a small way for her to show me that she's serious about earning back my trust. Some days, I feel like we're making real progress. We've started going on date nights again, nothing fancy, just dinners or walks where we can talk without distractions. During those moments, I catch glimpses of the woman I fell in love with, and I feel a glimmer of hope that maybe we can find our way back to each other. But then there are the bad days. Days when the memories of her betrayal hit me like a tidal wave. I'll see her smiling at Lily or laughing at something on TV, and all I can think about is how she left our daughter alone in the car so she could sneak upstairs with another man. On those days, the anger and resentment feel overwhelming, and I wonder if I'll ever truly be able to forgive her. Jessica has been patient, though. She doesn't get defensive or try to rush me through the healing process. When I tell her I'm struggling, she listens. "I know this is my fault," she said during one of our late-night talks. "And I'll keep showing you that I'm committed, no matter how long it takes." Dr. Warren has been pushing us to talk about forgiveness, not as a single moment, but as a process. "Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what happened," she said during one session. "It means choosing to let go of the anger and resentment so you can move forward, whether that's together or apart." The idea of forgiveness terrifies me. If I forgive Jessica, does that mean I'm saying what she did was okay? Does it mean I'm setting myself up to be hurt again? And if I can't forgive her, does that mean our marriage is doomed? I don't have the answers yet. But for now, I'm taking it one day at a time, trying to figure out if this is a road I want to keep walking. Hey Reddit, it's been a while since my last update, but I'm back with more to share. The past few weeks have been some of the most challenging of my life. Every day feels like a test of my patience, my resolve, and my willingness to fight for a marriage that might already be broken beyond repair. Jessica and I are still in therapy, still trying, but the question that's been looming over everything is this: do we even have a future together? In our most recent session, Dr. Warren asked a question that stopped me in my tracks. What does a successful outcome look like for each of you? Jessica didn't hesitate. I want to rebuild what we had, she said, her voice steady. I want to earn Brian's trust back, and I want us to be happy again for us and for Lily. Her answer sounded so simple, but it felt impossibly far away. When it was my turn, I struggled to find the right words. I don't know, I admitted. I guess. I want to feel like I can trust her again. But I don't know if that's even possible. Dr. Warren nodded, her expression calm. It's okay to feel uncertain, she said. Healing is a process, and sometimes it takes time to figure out what you really want. Her reassurance helped, but it didn't solve the knot of anxiety in my chest. What if I never reached a point where I could forgive Jessica? What if staying together only led to more pain for both of us? That evening, after putting Lily to bed, Jessica and I sat together on the couch. It was one of those rare moments of quiet, where the house felt still, and the weight of the day hadn't fully set in yet. Brian, she said softly, breaking the silence. Do you think we're going to make it? Her question hung in the air, heavy and raw. I looked at her, searching for an answer, but all I could see was the woman who had both broken my heart and been by my side for years. I don't know, I said honestly. I want to believe we can, but I'm scared. Scared of what? She asked, her voice trembling. Scared of wasting my time, I said, the words spilling out before I could stop them. Scared of putting in all this effort, only to find out that I can't move past what you did. Scared that no matter how hard we try, it'll never feel the same. Jessica's eyes filled with tears, and she reached for my hand. I'm scared too, she admitted. But I'm not giving up on us, Brian. I'll keep trying, even if it takes years. You're worth it to me. Her words were sincere, and for the first time, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe we couldn't go back to what we had before, but could we build something new? Something better? Despite Jessica's efforts, there are still moments when the doubt creeps in. I'll catch myself wondering if she's being completely honest with me or if there's more to the story that she's too afraid to tell. The paranoia isn't as intense as it was in the beginning, but it's still there, like a shadow I can't quite shake. One night, I finally voiced my fears during another late-night conversation. What if this happens again? I asked. What if, a year from now, you feel unloved or disconnected and make the same choices? Jessica didn't hesitate. It won't, she said firmly. I've learned from my mistakes, Brian. I know how much I hurt you and Lily, and I never want to feel that kind of guilt again. I've been working on myself in therapy, and I'll keep working, no matter what. Her conviction was reassuring, but I couldn't ignore the tiny voice in the back of my mind, whispering, what if she's just saying what you want to hear? The following weekend, Jessica suggested we take Lily to the park for a family outing. It felt like a simple gesture, but it was the first time in months that we'd done something as a family that didn't feel weighed down by tension. Watching Lily laugh and play reminded me of what we were fighting for, not just our marriage, but our family. As we sat on a bench, watching Lily run around, Jessica turned to me and said, Thank you for coming today. I know it's been hard, but I'm grateful you're still here. I nodded, unsure of what to say. I'm still here, I said finally, but I'm not sure what the future looks like. That's okay, she said, her voice gentle. We'll figure it out together. The truth is, I still don't know what the future holds for us. Some days, I feel like we're making progress, and other days, I wonder if we're just delaying the inevitable. But for now, I'm taking it one day at a time, trying to focus on the small victories, like spending time together as a family or having an honest conversation without anger or blame. Maybe that's all I can do right now. Just take it one step at a time and see where this road leads. Hey Reddit, I'm back with another update. The past few weeks have been a whirlwind of emotions as I've tried to wrap my head around what forgiveness actually means. Therapy has been helping, but it's also brought up a lot of difficult questions. Can I ever truly forgive Jessica? And if I do, what does that forgiveness look like? These are questions I've been wrestling with every single day. During one of our recent sessions, Dr. Warren asked me a question I wasn't prepared for. Brian, what does forgiveness mean to you? I sat there, staring at the floor, trying to come up with an answer. I guess it means letting go of the anger, I said finally. Not holding it over Jessica's head for the rest of our lives. Dr. Warren nodded. That's part of it, she said. But forgiveness isn't just about letting go of anger. It's about choosing to move forward, whether that means rebuilding your marriage or finding peace on your own. Her words stuck with me. I realized that forgiveness didn't necessarily mean staying together. It could mean choosing to part ways while letting go of the resentment. But it could also mean staying and working towards something new. The problem was, I didn't know which path I wanted to take. One night, after putting Lily to bed, Jessica and I sat down for another long talk. She'd been more patient with me lately, giving me space when I needed it, but also showing up when it mattered. I could see how much she was trying, and it made me wonder if maybe, just maybe, we could find a way through this. Brian, she said softly, breaking the silence. I know you're still angry, and I don't blame you. But I need you to know that I'm not going anywhere. No matter how long it takes, I'll keep fighting for us. Her words were sincere, and for the first time, I felt a flicker of something I hadn't felt in months: hope. Maybe forgiveness wasn't about forgetting what happened or pretending it didn't hurt. Maybe it was about choosing to believe that people could change and that healing was possible, even after something as painful as this. It's been a year since the night Jessica's betrayal came to light. Looking back, I can't believe how far we've come, or how close we came to losing everything. Forgiveness wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight. It was a long, messy process filled with setbacks and doubts. But we're still here, and I think that says something. For me, forgiveness has been about learning to let go of the anger and resentment while setting clear boundaries for our future. Jessica has continued to show me through her actions, not just her words, that she's committed to rebuilding our marriage. She's remained transparent, open, and willing to take accountability, even when it's hard. We've also worked on rebuilding the emotional connection we lost along the way. Date nights, open communication, and spending quality time together as a family have become priorities for both of us. It hasn't been perfect, but it's been progress. This year, we hosted Thanksgiving at our house. It was a small gathering, just us, my brother Jason, and my parents, but it felt significant. Last Thanksgiving was the night everything fell apart, but this one felt like a fresh start. As we sat around the table, I couldn't help but feel grateful, not just for the progress we've made, but for the strength it took to get here. During dinner, Jessica reached over and squeezed my hand. Thank you for giving us another chance, she said quietly. I nodded, my chest tight with emotion. Thank you for not giving up, I replied. I'm not going to pretend that everything is perfect now. There are still moments when the memories of her betrayal creep in, and I have to remind myself to focus on the present instead of the past. But those moments are becoming fewer and farther between. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like we're building something new, something stronger. To anyone out there struggling with infidelity or betrayal, I want you to know that healing is possible. It's not easy, and it's not always linear, but it is possible. Whether you choose to stay or walk away, the most important thing is to find peace within yourself. For me, that peace came from choosing to fight for my family, and I'm glad I did. Thanks for sticking with me through this journey, Reddit. Your support and advice have meant more to me than I can say. Take care of yourselves, and remember, no matter how broken things feel, there's always hope for something new.